All right, I think we're good now. Facebook's still messed up, but it is what it is, I reckon. And now, Mike's thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Saquon Barkley just got the bed. Saquon Barkley just got his Benjamins. Saquon Barkley just took his little happy ass all the way to the bank. Saquon Barkley has officially became the highest paid running back ever in the NFL, inking a $41.2 million deal. 36 of that million of which is fully guaranteed. Now, I am glad Saquon Barkley got his money. I am glad Saquon Barkley went out there and get a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I am glad that the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I'm glad that he broke 2,005 yards last season. However, in his 7-year NFL career, besides last season, he has only broken 1,000 yards 3 times in his career. He has not played a full NFL season since his rookie season. Besides last season, they sat up the last game, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But the simple fact of the matter is, Saquon Barkley has durability issues. Saquon Barkley is a good running back. He's not the greatest ever by any stretch of the imagination. And when the Eagles paid this man $41.2 million, they got to let people go. A little bit of defense, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Truth be told, Giz, the Philadelphia Eagles are kind of in a little bit of world of hurt. They played Saquon. They paid him that money. They paid him that bread. See you, Darius Slay. See you, Bradbury. Who's going to be next? That is the key question. That's the key acquisition. Glad he got his bread. Glad. Cue that intro.
Hey, now it's time to take off. Gotta keep it live and raw. Better stay tuned in. Man, our NFL talk. I know that you're ready for more. They on the field, ready for war. Who's in the lead? I'm checking the score. We about to do it like never before. NFL live, uncut, raw. This is Man Hour NFL talk. Let's go.
What is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckeye here with the Man Hour. Go to manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page. Check out the blog section as well. Of course, check out that Explore tab as well. But sharing is caring at the end of the day. So if you guys are new here, consider sharing this live stream. Consider sharing the live stream. Wow, I'm all types of workout over here. Hit the live stream. Guys, we got a great show for you lined up today. We are going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. That's right. The men, the myth, the legend themselves. We're going to talk about the Darius Cowboys. Then we're going to talk about Sam Darnold. Multi-year deal pending in Minnesota. Colts bringing in Daniel Jones. What? Slow it down, baby. And then, of course, you got Davante Adams that has been cut. Davante Adams is out of town. See you later, alligator. Then we got the Browns have zero interest in sailing Myles Garrett. And then Chris Godwin. Dude, the Bucs have got to bring him back, right? The Bucs have got to bring him back, right? Right. We're going to talk about that. And we got the Toxic Tuesday as well. Justin Fields starting in Pittsburgh. Giants let Darius Slayton go. Where do we expect him to go? And then, of course, we got a little bit of fact and a little bit of crap to round out the old day here. Got talking a little bit about T. Higgins. We're going to talk about J.J. McCarthy getting traded and Shedeur Sanders. The man, the myth, the legend himself. Shedeur Sanders is officially out. Right? Maybe? I don't know. All that, much more here, guys, here on Man Hour NFL Talk. I'm not digging this in like this new intro music. I'm just not digging it. So we're going to go back to the old one. We're going to go back to the old ways. It's bogging down. We're not on Facebook. We're only on YouTube. Simmer down, Buck. Simmer down. But we got to welcome some people in the chat before we get too right away. We got Old Man River. He's a pigskin punt over there. He says Darius Slay might be heading back to the mitten. And Darius Slay, Old Man River, he did say that he wanted to be a Philadelphia Eagle, or he wanted to go to the one and only Detroit Lions. It would be nice Detroit Lions need a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But guys, let's get into today's show. And let's start off with the old mighty Dallas Cowboys. Let's get started off with the all-in Dallas freaking Cowboys. Now, there were some rumors out there at the old combine, right, guys? I was at the combine Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and there was a lot of GMs and coaches and other coaches and assistant coaches out there talking about said teams and said locations and players and whatever, yada, yada, yada. Now, I was down there on the field with a couple of my former players, and I was rubbing elbows with some GMs and whatnot, and I heard that the Dallas Cowboys are not interested in signing some of their key free agents on the team this season. Quote, there's going to be a big turnover in Dallas, not only coaching, but players as well. And when I heard this, I'm like, what? Like, how many players are we talking here? Are we talking about a couple? Are we talking about three? Are we talking about the whole divas, the whole offensive line? Like, what are we legitimately talking about? So then I got to looking. 2025 NFL Dallas Cowboys free agents. There's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of free agents out there, yes. DeMarcus Lawrence is one of them. Brandon Cooks, Trey Lance, Eric Kendrickson, Cooper Rush, Rico Dowdle, Carl Lawson, Turpin, Titus Wheat, just to name a few. They're all free agents. Now, Stephen Jones has said that we are all in again this season. Jerry Jones has come out and said we're all in on this season. Other people have said that the Dallas Cowboys are all in on this 2025 NFL season. Now, some of you may think like, hey, maybe they're tanking. Maybe they're looking for Arch Manning. Maybe they're looking for a little bit of this. Maybe they're looking for a little bit of that. But when the Dallas Cowboys say they're going to be strategically aggressive, is what Stephen Jones said. That, to me, in my mind, saying that they're going to go out first and go get some key free agents. They're going to go out there and they're going to get some free agents. They're going to go out there and they are going to be the best of their ability and see what they can actually get. Now, when I look at the Dallas Cowboys roster in general, looking at all those names, Brandon Cooks, Trey Lance, Eric Kendrickson, Rico Dowdle, Carl Lawson, Turpin, Titus Wheat, DeMarcus Lawrence, just to name a few, this tells me that they need to go out there and they need some linebacker depth. They need some O-line help. And they also need some wide receiver depth as well. So when we look at the Dallas Cowboys, they're not in on their team right now. They're not in on Turpin, Brandon Cooks. Those guys can go kick rocks somewhere else. There are some big name receivers out there that are potentially free agents. Well, they are free agents. Davante Adams. We got Cooper Kupp. We got Davante Adams. There are some big name receivers out there that the Dallas Cowboys could go out there and go reach and bring them in, right? And honestly, if you think about this, CeeDee Lamb teamed up with the Davante Adams and maybe a Cooper Kupp. Look out. Now, they don't got Turpin speed. They don't got Brandon Cook speed, but they got the durability. They got the catching the ball, and they got a top 5 quarterback on their team in Dak Prescott. Let's just be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. They are them. They are that freaking good. And then we look at linebackers. There are some linebackers / edge rushers / a little bit of this / a little bit of that like out there if you're willing to go out there and go get them. If you are willing to go out there and make the trade, go be all in this free agency, there are some Washington Commanders that want to be traded. Myles Garrett wants to get traded. Jadarius Smith for the Detroit Lions right now got traded from the Cleveland Browns last season. He could be looking potentially for a new team. There are people out there that the Dallas Cowboys can go in and instantly make their team better, make them a Super Bowl caliber team. You add Davante Adams and Cooper Kupp to that team, the Cowboys are a top 10 offense in the NFL. You go out there and you add a big name running back. I don't care who it is. Anybody but Rico Dowdle or Dooley or Deuce Vaughn. I love my man Deuce Vaughn, right? I love my man Deuce Vaughn from the Kansas State University. I love him, but he's just not an NFL running back. There's going to be some players out there. Cam Akers, Austin Eckler. There are some free agent running backs out there. Guys, the Dallas Cowboys are 3 key players away from making a Super Bowl run. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. The Dallas Cowboys are 3 people away. 3. 1, 2, 3. A receiver, a running back, and a linebacker to making the NFL Super Bowl. So, guys, in the comments below, who do you think the Dallas Cowboys need to be all in entering this free agency period? Who do you think the Dallas Cowboys need to go out there and make a trade for? Who do you think the Dallas Cowboys say, hey, this is a guy that catapults us to the Super Bowl? I'm going to say Davante Adams and or Cooper Kupp. Then you can get the defensive tackle from Washington Commanders. His name's slipping my mind right now. And then, honestly, Nick Bolton from the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a free agent. Oof. Look at that. Look at that. So what do you guys think? Who do you think makes game-changing adjustments in the old Dallas Cowboys? Let's see what the old man River saying. Says Jerry Jones has officially lost it. What has Jerry Jones officially lost, my man? Like, what has Jerry Jones officially lost? That's what I'm kind of curious. When you say Jerry Jones has officially lost, so like, what has he lost? I'm just saying. And old man River says you're way off on quality of the Cowboys. They need 11 consistents. Come on, man. Come on now. The Dallas Cowboys are not that good. They are only a year removed from a 13-win season. They're only a year removed from, hell, almost making the playoffs last season with a third-string quarterback. Let's just be honest. I see my man John Setter's in the chat as well. John, if you want to click on the Man Hour tab and go over to the main page, you get to see the full aspects, just not the shorts part of it. But he says Chris Godwin is a game changer for the Dallas Cowboys. Need to go out there and get some Chris Godwin in your life. Listen, I like me some Chris Godwin. I do like me some Chris Godwin. I think Chris Godwin is the X factor for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers until he went down, and then all of a sudden we still see them perform and get better and actually make the playoffs, and, you know, honestly, probably should have made a Super Bowl run. But, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. So, guys, in the comments below, let me know. Who do you guys think? Who do you guys think is the game changer, the myth, the legend that is going to go out there and make the Dallas Cowboys that much better? Let's talk about that. Speaking of making a team better, the Colts, the Indianapolis Colts. They plan on bringing a quarterback in to Indianapolis to compete, to push, to mentor, to be the be-all, end-all for Anthony Richardson moving forward. Many rumors at the Combine saying that Daniel Jones is heading to Indianapolis with Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen was seen talking to Daniel Jones for many, many days up there. I was up there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I personally did not see it, but I heard my former player saying, yeah, Daniel Jones is coming to Indy. It is going to happen. So, guys, let me ask you this question. For one, is Daniel Jones the right quarterback for Indy? And two, can Daniel Jones put the Indianapolis Colts finally over that hump, finally win the division, finally make the playoffs? As you guys know, Anthony Richardson is known for tapping himself out on third down, on third and short versus the Texans in the 2024 NFL season. He's not known for his arm talent. He's not known for his scrambling ability. He's not known for trucking over a Jets defender and the end zone to kind of catapult the Colts to kind of a somewhat of a winning streak. He is known for being lazy. He is known for having poor work ethic, and he's known for being out of shape. When we flash back to Anthony Richardson tapping himself out on the third and short play for the Houston Texans, they were driving. They was driving down the field. They was battling against the Houston Texans, right? The same Houston Texans that made the playoffs. The same Houston Texans that won back-to-back AFC South championships. The same Houston Texans that won 2 wild card NFL games the last 2 seasons. They was battling the Texans. They were basically going to drive in there and take the lead, but he said he's tired. It's third and short, coach. I'm tired. We sat there and we ridiculed him for like weeks saying lazy ass, MOS, whatever this is, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Last season, in 11 games, he did only throw for 1,800 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. He had a QBR of 61.6, not very good in 11 games. His rookie season, he did just play 4 games before getting injured. He had 557 yards passing with 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, with the 87.3 QBR ranking. I feel personally he had a very, very good upside rookie year. Sophomore slump is a real thing. Daniel Jones did not play a snap for the Minnesota Vikings in 2025 after being cut by the New York Football Giants. Let's be perfectly clear. But he did play 10 games in the 2024 NFL season. He threw for 2,070 yards, 8 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, coming off his ACL injury in 2023, which he only played 3 or 4 games. When Daniel Jones has a decent running game, a decent offensive line, he wins a lot of football games. Hell, if you look at this back in 2022, rookie head coach and Brian Daboll, Daniel Jones had a great season. Saquon Barkley had a great season. And guess what? They went to the playoffs. They went to the playoffs where they beat the Minnesota Vikings in the wild card game, and they end up losing to the Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round, which the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, end up losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. When you look at Daniel Jones, he is only 27 years old. We are talking like this guy is 37, 40, 45. We're talking like this man's an old head. He's only 27. On the other hand, Anthony Richardson is only 22 years old. So, guys, when we look at the Indianapolis Colts, when we look at them and we strive and we want them to be great, does bringing Daniel Jones in make sense? Guys, Indianapolis Colts are in a purgatory. They remind me so much of the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. They are good, but they're not good enough to make it to the playoffs. They're not good enough to make a Super Bowl run. But they're not bad enough to get a top 10 pick. They're not bad enough to tank and get a new quarterback and totally rebuild and this, and this, right? They're in purgatory right now. Right? Do we do bad? Do we do good? We don't know what to do. Daniel Jones will get you over that hump. Now, it may not be a long-term solution. It may not be it may not be a 10 to 15 year solution. It's a 3 to 4 year solution. That's what it is. It is a solution to get Anthony Richardson's head right. It is a solution to figure out what Anthony Richardson can do in the NFL. Bringing Daniel Jones into Indianapolis is the best thing that the Indianapolis Colts can do for their franchise moving forward. It's the best thing that they can do for Anthony Richardson moving forward. This is a full-fruit plan. Think about it of Sam Darnold from last season. The Vikings, brought him in for like $3 million. Now the man's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL from last season. Now the man's going to get paid $45-50 million. It is a win-win situation for the Indianapolis Colts if they bring in Daniel Jones. John says, I think he would fit well in Indy. John, and I think you are exactly right, my man. What do the Colts have? They have a pretty good defense. They have a pretty good running game in Jonathan Taylor. They got a pretty good offensive line. They got some decent receiving core. They could go out there and get some help. They could go out there and get a Cooper Kupp. They could go out there and get a Davante Adams. They could go out there and get maybe a T. Higgins. Yes, I know T. Higgins just signed the franchise tag, but, money talks. Guys, Daniel Jones is not a terrible quarterback. Daniel Jones is just in a shitty-ass situation in New York. Let's just call a spade a spade. He was in a shitty-ass situation in New York. Old Man Rivers says Daniel Jones is an average quarterback at best. And I would agree with that. I would say Daniel Jones is a 14th, 13th ranked quarterback in the NFL. Maybe a little lower. But, Old Man River, Daniel Jones is still better than Anthony Richardson. Still, Old Man River, Daniel Jones can lead you to the playoffs. Daniel Jones can get you a playoff win. That is what's so great about the NFL. All you got to do is make it there. Just one time, just make it there, and things might work out for you. Unless you're the Detroit Lions. Then you shit the bed. But with that being said, Daniel Jones is average. Daniel Jones is a game-managing quarterback. I will give you all of that. That's how the Indianapolis Colts are set up. They're built for a quarterback just to manage the game. Do not suck at the end of the day. John says, agree. I think he would fit there well as a starter. Listen, I think if Daniel Jones goes to Indy, I am putting 10, 11 wins on them instantly. Now, I know I've been high on the Indianapolis Colts the last couple of seasons. I've been wrong about them for the last couple of seasons. But damn it. Damn it. I'm bound to get it right. Oh, man, River says, Richardson peaked in college. He's lost all of his heart. No. I wouldn't say he lost all of his heart. I'm saying when you have success for 10, 11 games as a college, and then you become, what was like a fifth overall pick, whatever it was. I can't remember where he got drafted. But when you have a little bit of success and then all of a sudden you get all of this glory, all of this praise, all of this, and this, right? Why do I need to work hard? I think ultimately that is in the back of his head. He's like, why do I need to work hard? I got all this. I got all that. Why do I need to work hard? That's what it is. John says, slow it down, baby. Don't be talking about my Detroit Lions. Oh, man, River says, Joe Burrow is going to lose his receivers. They already lost Tyler Boyd, so I'm just saying. And John says, damn, Lions sweater in the cheeks. I got my Lions sweater on, baby. Right there. Maybe next year since 1957, baby. Maybe next year since 1957. Now, talk about this, man. Let's talk about this man. Can this man do anything right? Davante Adams. Davante Adams got traded to the New York Jets mid-season. Ended up playing 10 games for the New York Football Jets. Ended up getting a 1,000-yard season along with 8 touchdowns in the 2024 NFL season. However, he did have like a $34 million contract incentive bonus on for 2025 and 2026. Ultimately, Davante Adams has been cut by the New York Football Jets. Who picks him up? Is there a market out there for Davante Adams? Is there a team out there that is going to make a play for Davante Adams? Guys, Davante Adams is a pretty good receiver. He's a damn good receiver. He had another 1,000-yard season last season. He now has 5 1,000-yard seasons in a row and 6 of 7 in 2019, where he only played 12 games, but he still had 997 yards. So easily could have been 7 in a row. Adams did sign a 5-year, $140 million deal back in 2022 for the Las Vegas Raiders with the average salary of $28 million. Now, I'm not saying he is in his prime. I'm not saying he's a top 10 receiver. I'm not saying he's a top 20 receiver. Hell, he may not even be top 30. But Davante Adams is still a pretty good receiver. Davante Adams can still go to a team and put them up over the edge. He can go to the Pittsburgh Steelers and put them up over the edge. He can go to the Washington Commanders and put them up over the edge. Or the Broncos, or the Chargers, or, do I dare say it, back to the Green Bay Packers. Guys, there are many teams out there that could really use the services of a Davante Adams. The real question is, the real deal is he going to understand that he is not the number 1 receiver on those said teams? That he is not maybe even the number 2 receiver on those said teams. I don't see him going to the Broncos and the Chargers and accepting a lesser role. I can see him going to the Steelers and accepting a lesser role to George Pickens. I can see him going to the Commanders and accepting a lesser role behind Scary Terry. I can see him going to the Packers and demanding to be a number 1 guy. So, guys, when I look at Davante Adams, Steelers, Commanders, Broncos, Chargers, Packers, all makes sense. But you know who makes the most sense? You know who makes the most sense out of every team out there? Let me be clear. It is the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs make perfect sense for Davante Adams. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to be they're going to be a team right now where old receivers, where old running backs, where old linemen that still have service left in them go ring chasing. They are the new England Patriots. DeAndre Hopkins is a free agent. Will he be back? Probably not. Juju is a free agent. Will he be back? Probably not. Sky Moore probably might be kicked to the curb as well. Consistently injured, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But Cole Hardman, probably gone. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs do have their core receivers, right? They have Rashid Rice. They have Xavier Worthy. But beyond that, they need a 3. They need a 4. A player like Davante Adams would be a perfect number 2 receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. Think about this. Just hypothetically speaking. Rashid Rice is back, number 1 receiver. Davante Adams is the number 2 receiver. You bring back DeAndre Hopkins as your number 4 receiver. Still got Xavier Worthy. Travis Kelce is coming back for his 13th season of the NFL. Guys, all of a sudden, 2018 Kansas City Chiefs might be back. All of a sudden, the 2017 Kansas City Chiefs might be back. 2019 Kansas City Chiefs might be back. Slow it down, baby. If Davante Adams goes to the Kansas City Chiefs, it is lights out. Raiders, you guys are done. Broncos, you guys are done. Chargers, you guys are done. Steelers, anybody in the AFC is done. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to go back to the Super Bowl, but I'm saying like another 14, 15-win season is not out of reach. So, guys, when you hear the name Davante Adams, free agent, where do you think he goes? I think 5 or 6 teams make perfect sense. Steelers, Commanders, Broncos, Chargers, Packers, and then the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm saying he goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. Homerness in me? Probably. Maybe. Who knows? Yes, 100%. But guys, where do you think he goes? John says Davante to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Davante Adams to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Listen, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might have some room. Let's look up their roster right now. I know Chris Godwin is a free agent. We'll be talking about Chris Godwin coming up here soon, right? Mike Evans isn't going anywhere. Then you got Jalen Macklin, Sterling Shepard, Ryan Miller, Trey Palmer. Yes, please. Yes, please. Like Davante Adams to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, team him up with Mike Evans, and then bring back Chris Godwin. Slow it down, baby. And then the man, the myth, the legend himself, Baker freaking Mayfield, baby. Let's go. Ooh, John, I know you are a Detroit Lions fan. I know you bleed that Hawaiian blue. But you better not hope that Davante Adams goes down there to Tampa. You best hope that you don't have to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the playoffs because with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Davante Adams, pending Chris Godwin comes back. That's scary. Plus Cade Otton. That man came out of nowhere last season. There you go. Cushmaster says Davante to Kansas City would be a good fit. Listen, I want to say back in 2022, there was talks. There was the negotiation of like, hey, Davante Adams to Kansas City, even back in 2022, just 3 or 4 years ago, right? We were talking about that. Granted, it did not work out. He signed a massive deal with at the time, the Oakland Raiders, and then the Las Vegas Raiders, and then the Los Angeles Raiders, and then the Vegas Raiders. But hey, he got his money. Now come play for a ring, right? Old Man River says, but Buck, You talk about Rashid Rice. You talk about Xavier Worthy. You talk about Travis Kelce. You talk about the rest of the roster, but the Kansas City Chiefs suck. Slow it down, old man River. They don't suck. They just had a bad game. They had a bad game, my man. Slow it down. John says Rice, Worthy, Davante Adams would be nuts. Listen, it would be pretty nice. It would be pretty darn nice, right? Because if you think about this, the rest of the Kansas City Chiefs roster, they still have Hollywood Brown. We didn't see him at all last season because he hurt his AC joint in the preseason game versus Miami. I believe it was the second play of the game. Saw him a little bit in the playoffs and like a little bit what he could be. But I forgot about Hollywood Brown. Rashid Rice, Xavier Worthy, Davante Adams, Travis Kelce, Noah Gray. Slow it down, baby. Would be nice. John says, hey, you know what? I am a Detroit Lions fan. And I would be scared of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but Davante Adams with Tampa Bay Buccaneers still makes sense. I think you're right, man. I think you're right. Dion Bryan says Dallas Cowboys. Dion? Listen, man. The Dallas Cowboys are going to need a receiver. Brandon Cooks is probably going to be walking. Turpin's probably going to be walking. Who else do they got? When you look at the Dallas Cowboys roster, legitimately, who do they got? Jalen Tolbert, Jonathan Mingo. He's going to get cut. It makes sense. Old Man River says, whoa. Let's not be Captain Obvious here, but San Francisco 49ers make sense. No, it doesn't to me. Because Brandon Ayuk just signed that big deal. Ricky Pearsall had a hell of a rookie season. Juwan Jennings is still the man, the myth, the legend, right? They still got George Kittle. They still got Jacob Coing. All right. They still got Chris Coonley, Trent Taylor. I don't foresee them going after a receiver unless it's in the draft, right? Unless it's in the draft. Speaking of receivers, and Kansas City bound, Chris Godwin. We've been trying to talk about Chris Godwin for the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. But as you guys know, Chris Godwin is a free agent as of today. Franchise tagging is now over. They're looking at to get a long-term deal done, but Chris Godwin is officially a free agent. Do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers bring him back? Should the Tampa Bay Buccaneers bring him back, or does Chris Godwin play somewhere else? Guys, for a very, very long time, I thought Chris Godwin was the glue that held the Tampa Bay Buccaneers together. For a very, very long time, I thought Chris Godwin was the reason that Mike Evans was having those 1,000-yard seasons year after year after year. I thought Chris Godwin was that X factor, that Y factor, that Z factor for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I really thought he was. But last year, he did only play 7 games for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before dislocating his ankle in a very needlessly play at the end of those games. In those 7 games, he did have 50 catches for 576 yards and 5 touchdowns. 5 of those 7 games, he was the leading receiver on the field. However, the week that he was hurt, the Bucs were starting to go more to Chris Otton. More and more and more. Chris Otton, that tight end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, started to really rear his head and become a top 5 tight end in the NFL. In his absence, meaning Chris Godwin, Jerry Maclin started to step up as well as Otton. Some will say that Mike Evans' production went down when Chris Godwin went down. But guess what? Mike Evans was still the team leading receiver in 7 of those 10 games that he missed. He still got his 1,000 yards. Guys, when Chris Godwin went down this season, it showed that, yes, Chris Godwin is a good receiver. he is a good number 2, number 3 receiver. He's not a number 1 receiver in the NFL. It is what it is. Not everybody can be a number 1 receiver in the NFL. But with that being said, when Chris Godwin went down, Mike Evans still got his bread. Otten stepped up. Macklin stepped up. There were other players on that team that stepped up. And yes, the Buccaneers did skip a little bit, right? I believe they were at one point, they're on a 3-game losing streak. It happens. But guys, Chris Godwin and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should go their separate ways. Chris Godwin should go to a team that's going to appreciate him a little bit more. I'm not saying that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do not appreciate him, but I think both teams can elevate their play if they would go their separate directions, go their separate ways. It's not you, it's me, right? That type of thing. So guys, where do you think Chris Godwin will play in 2025? I do not think it will be with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I do think it will be with a team in the AFC. I do think it will be a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, a team like the Chargers or the Broncos. There are some wide receiver needy teams out there in the AFC, and I think he goes to the AFC side of things. So guys, in 2025, who does Chris Godwin play for? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers or other? Let us know in the comments below. John says Chris Godwin is going to the Cowboys. We like Davante Adams going to the Cowboys as well, but Chris Godwin, guys, this is, I feel like Chris Godwin's a very unsung hero. Like I said, I really like Chris. I like him as a player. I like him as a person. He just go out there and he does his work, right? And he's only 29 years old. Davante Adams is not 29 years old. So yes, Chris Godwin to the Dallas Cowboys, teaming up with him like with CeeDee Lamb, is much like Mike Evans with a top 5 quarterback, and Dak Prescott's a lot like Baker Mayfield and Tom Brady, right? It makes sense. It makes sense. Now, this one, the Baltimore Ravens. Every year that the Baltimore Ravens get knocked out of the playoffs early, or which is every year, they always say they need receiver help, they need this help, they need that help. Guys, this is the first time in a long time that I don't think I've heard many Baltimore Ravens fans saying that, hey, we need a receiver. They got Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, Zay Flowers still, right? Mark Andrews and like Isaiah and Isaiah Likely, that nice 2-headed monster. I'm not for sure if they want to waste money on another receiver like Chris Godwin because they need some defensive help. So, as on paper, it kind of makes sense. I don't think the pocketbook, it makes sense, right? RPG Production says, I hope the Pats get Chris Godwin just because he's slightly younger than Davante and in my opinion, still very, very productive. Listen, I have been, honestly, RPG, thank you for your comment, of course. I've been forgetting that the Patriots have the most salary cap space in the NFL. And they had the worst receiving core in the NFL. So honestly, Chris Godwin and Davante Adams and Turpin all could go to New England and do a whole brand new receiving core and get everybody else out. Kendrick Boyer out, Kayshawn Buddy or Booty or whatever out, DeMario Douglas, Jalen Polk, all y'all. See you later. Right? RPG, like, I forget that the Patriots were that freaking bad last season. Their receiving core sucked. Can I say that any more politely? They were terrible. So really, any receiver to New England is an upgrade. Davante Adams, Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin, like obviously Brandon Cooks, Turpin, hell, Stephon Diggs. It's anybody in New England is better. Is a step up, right? Old Man River says Pittsburgh Steelers is a good fit for Chris Godwin. And I don't think so. I don't think so because of the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback situation. Right? The quarterback situation in Pittsburgh is very, very hairy. It's very, very unquestionable. It's very like, I don't know what to think, right? Is it Fields? Is it Rodgers? Is it Russ? Is it somebody else, right? They are a run-heavy team. Chris Godwin excels when he's able to get 10, 12, 14 targets in a game. And he's not going to get that in Pittsburgh. George Pickens will get the bulk of those catches, bulk of those targets, the bulk of everything. Because if you don't feed Chris Godwin, he's going to bitch, moan, and complain like he always does. Let's just call a spade a spade. So I don't think Chris Godwin to Pittsburgh makes sense. John says Godwin with May would be a good fit. John, as you are correct, I think anybody in Pittsburgh in New England would be a good fit, right? Drake May isn't going to make it past this season. Let's just keep that in the back of our heads. Drake May is not going to make it past the 2025 season in New England. Mike Vrabel wants his guy. I don't think Drake May's it. I'm just saying, I don't think Drake May is it.